Street.
Let me bring the conversation back home. Meanwhile, back in Washington, where things have been a little bit quiet, but it's in that quiet that there is a great message. This is how our political team described it in our first read blog that they put on Friday. I put it on the screen. Both Democrats and Republicans have cleared the decks of anything that could divide their parties before the 2014 midterms. Republicans have essentially taken immigration off the table, as well as the threat of default or a government shutdown. Meanwhile, the White House has now removed chain CPI from its budget and slowed its push for fast-track authority. So both sides are deploying a do-no-harm strategy, all with less than 9 months before Election Day 2014, David. In fact, the White House is saying we want to spend more in the president's budget that will come out and get back to some of those infrastructure priorities. That's campaign mode.
Yeah, and it's all bad for the country. Let's face it, what are the things that are going to help the economy in the near term? Immigration would be a huge boost for the economy. A fast track, a trade deal across the Atlantic, across the Pacific, huge boost. Chain CPI would save $1 trillion off in the second decade off the federal budget debt. So these are all gigantic, very good policies where there is majority support, and where in the old days in Washington, you'd cobble together a bipartisan coalition and get rid of the fringes. But right now, the fringes have veto power over everything else, and nobody's found a solution to that.
So right. And by the way, it used to be that the parties would help each other to make up for each other's differences. Now they accentuate each other. To the Democrats, this election, a rosy scenario is to lose 5 Senate seats, not 6.
That's saying
they could lose 10. And so what they've said is, if we're going to lose 10 seats potentially, and they could well do that, a big sweep, they're going to their battle stations. Nothing on Social Security. All out talk about minimum wage. Nothing on trade. David's dead right. Nothing's going to get done because both parties have gone to their base.
Well, something that could make a difference, frankly, is the president and his approval rating. Right now it's in the low 40s. As long as it stays in that range, the Democrats really have to worry about not only losing seats in the House, but also losing control of the Senate. If he can figure out a way at this point, and here we are February, to get his numbers up somehow, I think that helps across the board. But right now, you're right, both parties have gone into the bunker, and they're sitting there waiting to see, what happens on the campaign trail. But it's all out of Washington.